Stephen Clark joins us this morning to talk about the case that captivated so many and brought sadness to the thought of 3 innocent children being killed by their own mother. Thank you for joining us so much.
Thank you, Laura.
Now, Harris will have the chance to leave the mental hospital, I guess, if she can prove that she is sane within a year?
That's right. What will happen is over the next period of time where she's housed in a mental institution, if she can show that she has been restored to sanity, she can actually be returned to the community on a supervised basis for a year, and then after that she can be released back into the community. You know, when you think about it, in a situation where she was found guilty of 3 counts of second-degree murder, if she went to prison, she'd be going for life. That's why I think the public is very disturbed about this finding.
And why? What about the timing of it? Why was it that it wasn't until after the trial did we really see the sanity phase of it? It seems like if it would have been done earlier, we would have saved the time, the expense, the jury's time as well in the entire trial.
Well, what happens, though, you have to make a finding as to guilt or innocence initially, which the jury did, and they found her guilty. And then in a situation where there's a legitimate sanity defense, then the next phase is the sanity phase. So then that really is a placement hearing. So that's why you break it up into 2 pieces like that, because we didn't know what she was going to be convicted of. And once the jury made that finding, she would have been sent to prison for the rest of her life. Now she will be going to a mental institution. It is a pretty strong showing that she'll have to make before she's released. I mean, it may be that in a mental institution she will stay there the rest of her life, but theoretically, she could be getting out in a year.
In a mental institution, will she have the chance at rehabilitation?
Right, and that's the whole point of the statute, is to give people like her the opportunity for treatment, because what the law looks at is, did she appreciate what she was doing when she killed her kids? According to the testimony, she thought God had told her to throw her kids in and that they would be saved and throw them into the bay, that kind of thing. So the law doesn't want to punish people who don't appreciate what their acts, and that's the theory behind it. Now, the practical effect of it is that people find it very disturbing that you can do something so horrific and then theoretically get out of jail in a short period of time. So that's where the balance comes into play.
Right, but the likelihood, as you mentioned.
I think she will spend a substantial period of time in that mental institution and maybe the rest of her life, unless she's able to restore her sanity through medication and treatment, which she will get in the mental health institution.
Obviously, she does need some help there. Since we have another hot case that everyone is talking about, we'll see if it turns into an actual case, is the water intoxication one in Sacramento. If you're not familiar with it, 28-year-old Jennifer Strange, mother of 3, dies after competing in a competition put on by a local radio station to win a Wii gaming system. She drinks more than 2 gallons of water, suffering from water intoxication. She goes home. She dies. The station, I guess, since that time has fired 10 employees. What is the possible liability here? Well,
clearly there's civil liability. There's going to be a wrongful death suit against the station for engaging in really as a reckless stunt. The station was on notice that this could have been dangerous. People were calling into the station, warning them, you know, what you're doing could be life-threatening. There was a death in a similar fashion at Chico State from water intoxication. The station was joking about it. They were cajoling these people to continue the process of competing for this game. And I find
joking about it on air.
Absolutely. And they were continuing to provide her with water. She was complaining about feeling sick. She continued to drink water, and she went home and died. Where I was a bit surprised that the prosecution or the law enforcement agencies seemed a bit lackadaisical about this, particularly when, you know, the station knew what they were doing could be so dangerous. And I think now when the sheriff is looking into it as to whether there should be a criminal negligent homicide type of investigation, you may see a criminal case out of this in addition to the civil case.
And that could be against the possible of the DJs involved there, as well as, how would that go along with the station?
Well, you'd have the people that put on the contest and the people that were providing her with the water and egging her on, essentially. Other people were getting sick in this contest. The real issue is, did she know what she was getting into? There's some testimony that she signed a waiver to participate in this, but my understanding of the waiver was it was more of a publicity waiver as opposed to what I could be doing here. It could cost me my life. You know, when you think about a mother of 3 kids, is that the type of person that's going to risk their life for a $250 game? And that's what makes this so tragic. And had the station used a little more care in terms of talking to a physician before they engaged in this, you know, we may have had a very different outcome.
Exactly, and from some tapes that we're hearing too, it sounds like some professionals, a nurse and whatnot, called and said, stressing the danger in this, and it was joked about.
It was joked about, and they continued with the contest. They should have stopped it immediately. You know, there obviously has to be a balance between being entertaining as a radio station. I mean, it's a young person's radio station. You know, you wonder if other kids are going to try this now, copycat type of thing, between a public health and safety type of argument. And I think the balance in this one went way in favor of not doing this contest. I think there's going to be a lot of liability, civil and criminal.
And of course, everyone's watching this case as well.